Hello everyone, the topic for today is gas welding. Now what exactly is gas welding? Gas welding is joining of these two metal by a third metal. This filler rod will be melted and put between these two metal to form a welded joint. So the equipment which we will be using for this are these two gas cylinder, one is for oxygen and other is for acetylene. Then this regulator with two hose pipe, one for oxygen, other for acetylene, two regulator to control the gas flow. So here also, before doing any work, we need to perform safety precautions. So the safety precautions required for this is you should always wear goggle, because during the welding flame will be produced, so that flame can damage your eyes. So to protect your eyes, you should always wear goggle. So after the welding is performed, keep the hose pipe in its proper place. Do not leave it anywhere and never touch it with your own hand. So we are using two types of gas here, one is oxygen, other is acetylene. So it can also be called as acetylene gas welding. Now when oxygen and acetylene mix with each other, so a flame is produced. So we are using that flame to perform the welding operation. Now that flame will be used to melt this filler rod, between these two plates, so that the two plates will be welded to each other. Now before starting welding, first this plate should not get displaced from its position. So first we'll take a touch here, then we'll take a tuck here. So when we have taken a tuck on both the sides, so now the plates will be on its position intact. Now we can perform the welding without the plate getting displayed. So due to the flame, we can regulate the flow of gases through this valve, okay, and a spark igniter will be used to ignite this light torch. Then bring it near this, adjust the flame and keep this filler rod between the metals. So the flame will melt this filler rod between the two metal to perform the welding of the two plates. With this lighter, we can have three types of flame. first is neutral flame, in which both the oxygen and acetylene are in same quantity. So, you can see here, so this is the neutral flame in which acetylene and oxygen both are in same proportion. Now, next is carburizing flame where acetylene is more. If we increase the amount of acetylene, the flame we get is like this. So, this is a carburizing flame where the amount of acetylene is more. Third type of flame is oxidizing flame where the amount of oxygen is more than acetylene. So, here you can see, so this is a oxidizing flame where oxygen is more than the acetylene. So, depending on requirement, we can use the proper type of flame. So, this was for gas welding where the two metal will be joined by a third metal. A lighter torch will be used to ignite a flame. The flame will melt this metal between these two metal, forming a welded joint. You can see here the welded joint. Now, this welded joint was formed by this metal. So, here the initial metal are not melted, but the third metal is melted between the two plates to perform the joint, and the gas which are used are oxygen and acetylene. So, both are used in appropriate proportion to get the
equipment setup in gas welding. At the end of this topic, you will be able to describe the equipment setup in gas welding, demonstrate the equipment setup for oxyacetylene gas welding. Gas welding is a welding process that melts and joins metals by heating them with a flame caused by a reaction between the fuel gas and oxygen. Due to high flame temperature, the oxyacetylene welding is mostly used in industries. The equipment involved in gas welding are cylinders, oxygen cylinder, acetylene cylinder, regulators, welding hoses, check valves, flashback arresters, and torches. Before learning about the welding process, we will first set up all these required equipment at proper places. Now, we will see the functions of these equipment. Cylinders. Oxygen and acetylene are stored in steel cylinders that can withstand extreme high pressure. Cylinders should always be secured and transported in the upright position. When a cylinder is not in use, close the valve by steel cap. Cylinders should be checked regularly with the date of the last test stamped on the top of the cylinder. Oxygen cylinder. These cylinders are painted in black color, filled with oxygen. The size of the cylinder ranges from 20 to 300 cubic feet, which contains compressed oxygen at high pressure of 2200 pound per square inch. Acetylene cylinder is painted in maroon color. The size ranges of this cylinder is from 10 to 400 cubic feet capacity. Acetylene is dissolved in acetone, which is stored at a pressure of 250 pounds per square inch. Regulators. The primary function of these regulators is to control the gas pressure during welding. It reduces the high pressure of the gas stored in the cylinder to the working pressure of the torch. Welding hoses. The cylinder regulators and torch are connected together by welding hoses. These hoses should be color-coded. Blue color hoses for oxygen and red color hoses for acetylene. The oxygen hose is fitted in right-hand threads, whereas acetylene hose is fitted in left-hand threads. Check valves. It is installed between the hoses and torch. These valves are designed to permit the flow of gas in one direction. The purpose of this valve is to prevent the reverse or backflow of the gas with minimal leakage. Flashback arresters. It is used to stop the flame or reverse the flow of gas back up into equipment or supply line. Flashback arresters must be fitted on both oxygen and acetylene regulators. Torches. It consists of handle, oxygen and acetylene valves and mixing chamber. The oxygen and fuel gas flow through the tube and are mixed in the mixing chamber. Then, the mixed gases get ignited at the tip of the torch. Suitable tip is placed at the end of the torch which increases or decreases the width of the flame. Equipment setup for oxyacetylene gas welding. Take all the equipment such as oxygen and acetylene cylinder, hoses, regulators, check valves, flashback arresters, and torch. First, check whether the oxygen and the acetylene gas cylinders valves are turned off. The two cylinders are secured in an upright position and placed on a wheeled trolley. Connect the regulators to cylinders for which they were designed. Connect oxygen regulators to oxygen cylinders and acetylene regulators to acetylene cylinders. Note, the pressure value of each cylinder should be 0. Next, fix the flashback arresters to both oxygen and acetylene regulators. Attach the hoses to the flashback arresters. Never use an acetylene hose on an oxygen cylinder or an oxygen hose on an acetylene cylinder. As a further safety precaution, connect the oxygen hose in right-hand thread and acetylene hose in left-hand thread. Connect the check valves at the bottom of the torch. Finally, install the torch to the end of the oxygen hose and acetylene hose. Select the suitable tip for the task and screw it at the end of the torch. Hold the torch handle in your hand and adjust the oxygen and acetylene taps. Position the tip away from your faces. Now, you are ready to use the torch. Half turn the main valve on the top of each cylinder in counterclockwise direction. Turn the regulator valve and set the pressure for each cylinder. This is your working pressure for welding. Before you light the torch, check your working area. Make sure there is no flammable material or fluids nearby, and also clear the workmates from the area. Now, ignite the torch. Slightly turn on the acetylene valve. That creates a flame at the tip of the torch. Then slowly open the oxygen valve on the torch handle. As you open the oxygen valve, you will see the color of flame changing. The pure acetylene flame is yellow, and if you add oxygen, it changes to blue. Now, you can adjust to the desired flame width for the welding you are doing. Summary. In this topic, you have learnt that the equipment setup in oxyacetylene gas welding are cylinders, oxygen cylinder, acetylene cylinder, regulators, welding hoses, check valves, flashback arresters, and torches.